and stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure it's... Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you just would give it like, Jason, I need 75%. You're giving me like 52%. We're going live.
Why are your needs what is important here?
I'm captain
What's
of the
happening
ship.
here? Whoop.
You're good. But you turned a YouTube video on.
Whoa.
And this is
I thought I hit a button.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. We're here
Oh,
to
no, I
do
turned it-
a show.
And I'm not even like, I just started a different video. Skip.
You're watching a live stream of Jason watching YouTube videos. How does that make you feel? And
There we go.
oh, turn the audio off. We're going to get an echo.
I-
Welcome to Amateur Hour.
seriously, the things that make me feel old are
Technology.
failing in technology.
Yeah.
The most I don't use Zoom very often. Like from the time the pandemic started in 2020 till now, I think I've been on like 15, 20 Zoom calls. So I don't know how all the little
Buttons work.
I don't know how it works.
You're like,
How
am
to,
I on?
Yeah, how to
Am
join
I
it.
on?
I'm always either on mute or not on mute at the wrong time.
Jason, turn your camera on.
I was part of this city committee.
City committee?
City committee. For the last couple of years.
Was
and
it? Hey, if it was the sewer, it would be the shitty city committee?
It was not. It was the bikey
Okay.
city committee. I don't know.
I digress.
Anyway, all the meetings were on Zoom, and
Ooh.
I kind of stopped going because I didn't know how to perform
City meetings on Zoom.
in the Zoom call. I was always either on mute, not on mute, didn't know what was going on. So,
All right.
are we on? Are we going?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
We're on.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. No, you welcome them.
Oh, you get the welcomes.
Okay. Welcome to the
Aw.
show. Tonight, we're going to be discussing...
Winter.
Oh, I thought
The winter blues.
Gonna
What?
be hemorrhoids, but the
I mean-
winter blues.
I mean, hemorrhoids usually... Is that a wintertime problem?
Yeah,
I was always told don't sit on cold concrete.
don't ever sit on cold
I don't know
concrete.
where that came from.
How would we ever get any buildings built?
I don't know.
All those construction workers.
No idea. We are talking about... Here, let's get out of here. I'll come back to it.
Cool. We got it. Show notes, please.
Show notes.
We're going to be chatting about how to get through...
How to get through the dark, cold, dreary days of winter.
Two roads diverge.
And without spending the whole time being just down in the dumps and sad.
Eating Doritos, watching the whole Star Wars series of movies again. From start to finish.
Yeah.
Which... Don't get me started about Clone Wars.
Beyond that, though, bud, how are you? How you doing?
Doing well.
Now we're in, what's our date? Yeah, we're in the third week of January, the third week of 2024. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Not touching a bike. I haven't touched a bicycle in weeks.
That's not what I heard.
What?
I heard you tripped over a bicycle.
Oh, I tripped over a bike in my garage. So that's going well.
I think it counts.
We just had like the gnarliest cold snap of like sub zero temperatures.
Sub cold, yeah.
It was woke up and got in the car. It was -8 several times. So
Which was like just over a week ago.
yeah.
And my whole understanding of time is all screwed up, and I could have sworn that was like a month ago. It was a week ago.
I thought it was yesterday.
I'm backwards. Time doesn't work that way. So no bike stuff lately. It was super cold. We knew that. We weren't doing bike stuff then. You haven't touched a bike since. I've touched a lot of bikes, and I think they've touched me as well.
Like a good made for TV movie.
Yeah, and I've touched. a bicycle that I rode of my own today for the first time in 2 weeks. I went on a bike ride today.
Shut up. That was awesome.
It was great. It was 50 degrees outside, and it was not windy, and the bike path was clear, so I enjoyed it. I had to go take a part to another bike shop, and so I stopped along the way, gave that to them, finished my bike ride, came home, hour and a half outside. It's fantastic.
That's
I got you beat. Man,
That's
I got
amazing.
you beat.
Jeff Young is in the house.
Jeff Young's in the house.
How are we sounding, guys? Are we sounding good?
Yeah, it's not touching boys. I'm touching bikes.
Your boys.
Touching bikes. NTM was. I did have somebody suggest to me that. NTM. No, I don't know anything about NTM. I had somebody suggest to me that Green Mountain was bikeable today, and I did not. I don't have the heart to tell them that I don't ever ride there because that comes off not nice.
Yeah.
But I don't ever ride there because I don't think it's a fun place to ride bikes.
It can be
For me.
until you run into people, and
I don't
there's a
think
lot
the
of
trail
people.
is fun. So,
It's yeah.
but if Green Mountain is dry enough to ride, even that south-facing area, then Dakota Ridge is dry.
Yeah.
And given those two choices, I will ride Dakota Ridge every time. Even so, like, problem solved, right?
I mean, my experience has been Dakota Ridge because, or just don't ride.
I mean, not riding is always an option. Like, not riding is always an option.
Well, Green Mountain holds on to that moisture. It has a lot of moisture, so it holds on to the moisture, and it just can be a mud fest in spots after
Yeah.
big snow.
Yeah, I learned that years and years ago, but then also I just
Don't like it.
I don't like to ride it.
You know what I call?
But I try not to be mean, right? I don't want to like. Here's the problem with so many things in life. If you express the thing that you don't like a thing, people automatically assume that that's your commentary on their like of that thing, and it's not that way.
It's not.
I just have my preferences, and you have yours. And by saying I don't ride Green Mountain doesn't mean I think that you suck because you do.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Well,
I think you suck for other reasons
we're
than that.
we're all different people, just trying to make it. I'm gonna need a little refill on that. But getting through the winter today I got out and filmed a random concert in the middle of downtown
Oh, nice.
by this guy Marco Rubella.
Marco Rubio?
No, God no. No, a random pop-up concert. I went out and shot with another content creator, and it was pretty awesome. So my arms are like lead weights right now. And so I'm getting in the swing of things.
So I'm getting questions from other sources now, so it's coming through Instagram messaging now.
Oh,
so-
okay. Is Green Mountain rideable? No, it sucks. Not even no. It sucks.
Yeah, like it's never rideable because rideable means having fun. So
Team
do we
Nice
need to
Boy?
explain this even more? Team Nice Boy. Is that
I don't.
I'm
yeah.
trying. I'm trying to captain the ship of nice bike riding
Nicety.
guys.
I mean, yeah, it just doesn't. It's like
It's tough.
some places just don't tickle your fancy.
No.
I would say that. It doesn't tickle my fancy.
Oh, Nick, you're looking. Okay, this is Jeff Young's. It's like he has our show notes, but he says you're looking beefcake,
Yeah.
which this is part of our winter, our discussion tonight on how we're getting through winter. One of the ways you're getting through winter is
Literally just eating beef.
eating less food and eating differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This winter I've been focused on, actually around Thanksgiving, I had my blood work done and it came back that I was pre-diabetic. And I'm like, how the hell am I pre-diabetic? Like,
Somebody gave you them pre-diabetic drugs.
yeah, I got a touch of the sugars, everyone. And I'm like, I'm
It'll
seriously
happen.
like,
It'll happen.
I mean, yeah, I've had some bad habits, especially not like I have 2 kids and I
I mean,
eat
as long
my
as I've known you,
emotions.
you would hand me a Werther's original every time I saw you.
Yeah,
So.
here's a candy, son. So yeah, so I was like, I do not want to be diabetic and have crazy, like take medications and be unhealthy. So over the last 2 months, I have completely cut carbs out except for this drink of alcohol. That is it. Like I don't eat rice. I don't eat bread. I don't eat potatoes really. Like I might have a little bit of sweet potatoes, but essentially like keto.
But it's clearly paying off, and
It's
you're enjoying life just fine.
yeah, it's awesome. Actually, I feel way better. I pretty much eat meat, eggs, cheese, with a little bit of leafy greens, and that's and a ton of avocados. Thank God for avocados. So yeah, I'm just eating the beef. Honestly, I'm going meat, and I'm also doing some intermittent fasting. All of the trends that you hear about, there's a reason people are doing them.
Sure.
Because we eat way too many carbs, and our bodies, when you start to get older, just say, "Hey, we're not into this. We're gonna start shutting down." Yeah.
And that's what happens. Well, congrats on you. Good job.
So I'm feeling healthy. I've lost a little over 20 pounds. Last
Fantastic.
winter, I hit 240. Now I'm down to 214. So, yeah. And I'm not exercising.
Beefcake. I mean, start throwing some exercising in there.
Yeah.
It'll get out of control.
I think in the next month, I'm going to get back to it.
Nick, you're primarily what's your bike riding preference? Like I know you do dirt jumping. Would you say and that's like your primary way to ride bikes that you prefer, or is it mountain biking, or what is it?
I think a mix of mountain biking. I think with mountain biking, I like flow over like technical. So like
Okay.
the best trick, like I love Floyd Hill. Like it's a nice balance of like getting thrown into rocks to like having some jumps and berms and rocks. One of my favorite trails. Also a huge fan of Rainmaker, but that's also like more on the dirt jump side of things. Yeah, not I would say mountain biking, but flowy, jumpy type stuff.
So, if that's your preference, how do you get your fancy when it's winter?
Actually, last year, it's been a couple years. We did have an indoor park down the road that closed.
Yeah. They didn't make our what we lost in 2023 because they closed before that, right?
Yeah, way before that, and for different reasons.
Sure.
It was a Lord of the Flies situation. We'll just put it that.
Fair enough.
But I've been making it out. Well, just on warm days, making it out.
Yeah.
Skate parks usually dry out. Back in the
Sure.
day, I used to go shovel the skate park out, and that's
Right.
how you get out there. So, yeah,
Nice.
skate parks and some trail riding. I do have like a city e-bike that I cruise to downtown because it's 8 miles from my house to downtown.
And what do you do
then
downtown? You gotta get them. You gotta get to them meetings.
Yeah, downtown meetings and lattes.
Yeah.
Some of the best lattes are in the city. Euro carbs. What?
What? They're different.
US
Are
carbs
they
are
different?
bad.
U.S. carbs are. Oh, probably. I believe it. I don't know what that means, but sure.
I literally will drink olive oil by the shot glass. That's where I'm at.
Oh.
Yeah, you wake up, you do a shot of olive oil, and then wait till 1 o'clock to eat.
We used to make.
Seriously,
We used to make our own baby formula that involved basically like goat's milk and olive oil and a
Ooh.
couple of other little vitamin additives in it
yeah,
for our kids years ago. It would be great for you, in fact.
Yeah.
You could make it up and just make yourself a little homemade baby formula smoothie.
I cut way back on dairy too. Other than cheese and butter are good to go, but goat milk and goat yogurt with
Fantastic.
chia seeds in the morning.
Sounds like you got it down, man.
I think I'm figuring it out.
So now that you got all this diet figured out, you hitting the trainer every morning, blasting those miles.
I'm going to this spring.
Are you?
I'm
You're
I'm
gonna ride the trainer in the spring.
I'm really thinking about
All
it.
that springtime and summer trainer riding.
Let me just say it's a definite maybe.
All right. Do you ever ride a trainer? You own one.
I own a trainer.
Okay.
I actually hate trainers, man.
Same. Well, yeah, it's pretty normal.
Rollers, if you're familiar with rollers, I like rollers a little bit because there's some challenge to
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm like 15, 20 minutes max on rollers, and I just don't like trainers. It's not fun.
I try not to ride the trainer before January.
Yeah.
It's not like a rule. It's just something like we usually have okay weather up to Christmas.
Oh,
Let's see olive oil shots. Oh,
where is it? You got
I
some?
could get you some. Is that what we're doing? Hold
No.
on, I'm chatting with the viewers there.
No carbs. This is a no carb November to next year.
But anyway, I usually get on the trainer in January, and I'll ride for a TV show,
Oh yeah.
and then that's it. So it's usually 45 minutes or so. I did acquire one of these smart trainers this year.
Yeah.
I haven't plugged it in yet or tried it yet. Also, apparently, in order to get all the use out of it, I'm supposed to pay some company $15 a month to participate
Yeah.
in online bicycle racing. And I haven't jumped into doing that because I'd rather ride my bike outside. And paying money to ride my bike inside sounds wrong.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with that. I will make the attempt to ride outside as much as I can, like today. If the paths have been dry, the bike paths, ish enough, and it's usually over 30 degrees or higher, I'll go ride.
I mean, that's the thing about Denver. Like we live in a climate. Like we'll have a week of bad weather, and then it warms up, and it's in the 50s, 60s.
Right. So it's not so bad.
So it's not terrible.
I don't spend any of my time or money on the skiing.
Oh, another thing I wanted to say to Jeff Young is just start wearing smaller shirts. That's the other ticket. You get beefier.
Ooh.
You just wear smaller shirts.
And wear black.
Yeah, it's like compression socks. Black and smaller shirts. It's very
tiny black shirts is where it's at.
So you're gonna be hitting the trainer. Are we gonna hear an update next week?
Probably not, because the weather for next week still looks pretty good. So I'm probably going to be outside.
You're just gonna
the
not
coming
pay
week.
$15 and maybe have an amazing gamified experience by this company.
We'll see. I might get out of riding a trainer altogether, because last year, when February rolled around, we'll see. Dakota Ridge was dry all of February last year, and I rode it 2 to 3 times a week, every week in February last year as my kickstart the year.
I actually fear Dakota Ridge a little bit because I have an XTR
should.
derailleur.
Oh yeah, they're expensive. Fair enough. There is an event coming up. It's next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, but the February 4th, called Old Man Winter.
Ooh.
It's like the 100K, or which is 60 whatever miles event, is basically a gravel bike event in Lyons and Boulder.
Oh, okay.
That they do every year. I've done it twice, and I have a number of customers who are kind of pushing me to go. I'm not fit for 65 miles of bike riding.
60. Okay, maybe go do half of it.
They do have a short option, but my ego or pride doesn't want me to do the little one. Do the big one.
You know what I want to say.
Yeah. So I probably won't do it, but if I can put in some good riding between now and next week, maybe.
Now, one thing we didn't have in the notes that I just remembered was fat biking. Have you ever done fat biking?
Never. The only time I've ever ridden a fat bike on a trail was probably in 2014 14, 15, somewhere in there, I rode a felt electric fat bike on Dakota Ridge of all things. I had the third. I didn't. It was before they had a e-bike thing on Strava. So on Strava, I had for a long time I was third place on the climb up there, and it was on a fat bike, and I kept the speed just enough to be. It's like decimated now. I don't even know where I'm at on the time anymore. But then I got a flat in that bike, like partway across the nasty stuff on the top of the ridge, and then I had to walk that stupid bike the whole way back with flat tires. So
That's what you get, dude, for cheating the system, dude.
I know.
Cheating Strava.
I paid the price,
You paid the price.
but whatever, it was worth it. But no, I don't ride a fat bike in the winter. Don't own one. Haven't done it. What about you?
I've done a couple good fat bike rides. I've done Three Sisters in Evergreen, totally covered in snow. Mm-hmm. That was pretty fun. The one thing about fat bikes is if you actually go out and ride in snow and you run low pressure, it is the most amount of effort you will ever put into a bike because there's a lot of tire resistance.
Sounds awful.
But it's also just different and fun, and if the trail's somewhat packed, it rips. I did Jones Pass, so if you're going up to Winter Park.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, we did Jones Pass a couple years ago. I did that on a Moonlander, so that's the biggest fat bike at the time.
I believe it's a 5-incher.
Yeah. I think we were running 4 PSI in the tires.
Jeez.
And we were actually running so little tire pressure that the bead was actually slipping in.
Oh.
It was weird, but yeah, we did that. So Jones Pass, they have a snowcat that runs up and down and packs the trail, so you can ride all the way to the top. And then we rode back, and I did bury my front tire a couple times. I just went over the handlebars and just laughed. Sure. It was hilarious. I just fell in fluffy snow.
That's wonderful.
They did let us go down the ski run at the little ski run they have at the Frisco Adventure Park.
Oh,
and
nice.
So that on the corduroy, it's actually pretty fun. You're just ripping side to side, and it squishes in a little bit, so you can just corner.
Sure. Well, that's one thing I've seen about the way fat biking has changed was like when it first showed up, it seemed like it was billed as like just go ride in the snow, and people were like, oh, you can ride in powder, you can ride in this, and then it turned out to be like not fun, not great, and then now like there's like a symbiosis between fat bikers and snowshoers and cross country skiers.
Yeah, to pack
where they
the
all
trail.
want the same, sort of packed conditions down.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. That's all.
Yeah, like
It's a special little joining of hands for outdoor activities among incongruent groups.
So when I was working at the bike park, the dirt jump park, people thought that it was okay to come ride fat bikes because they were fat bikes on muddy jumps.
Oh, jeez.
And so I would have to be like, no, it's muddy right now. The park's closed. You got to go. So no, you cannot ride fat bikes on mud, and you need to ride on somewhat packed trails.
Sure.
Otherwise, you sink, and it is no fun, and there's a lot of resistance.
Yep.
So yeah, and if it's like 1 or 2 inches of snow, like it's fine. Like that's great. Like a little covering on the trail.
Can't you just ride a regular mountain bike on 1 to 2 inches?
Maybe it's never been done. No one's ever tried that.
No one's ever done it. No one's ever tried just riding regular mountain bikes in snow.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe a 29er might work, but it's never been tested.
Well, let me ask you this: how much?
Maybe we need Neil Armstrong to come back. Come back and send it down the trail.
Neil Armstrong lawned.
Send it, brother. By the way, I love when people mix up Neil Armstrong and Lance Armstrong. And back in the day, that happened a lot.
Yeah, when Neil Armstrong was so popular, everybody was
people would come in and say, "Oh, Neil Armstrong's doing good on the Tour de France."
Yeah,
and
I'd get accused of thinking I was Neil Armstrong.
And I was like, man, he's like 70 now, and he's doing the Tour de France,
and he's still trying to toe that line that they actually did land on the moon.
Yeah, maybe he'll land on France, take over the tour.
That's what he did. No, see, I try to ask all these people are out here watching this. How do you survive winter? No answers. They just want to talk about bad carbs. We could have probably gone
Bad
on bad
carbs.
carbs all night, apparently.
Actually, this video would have gotten 3 million views if we talked about carbs.
Don't eat these carbs.
Pro tip.
And then you follow it up with eat these carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
So, yeah, actually, pick a vegetable, any vegetable. Go.
A carrot.
Carrots are terrible for you. Never eat carrots.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
My mom
ruined
said
carrots.
that they're good for me, and I've been eating them for a long time, even though they're only so
That's
delicious.
how you got your complexion.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Ginger people. The last kind of people you can just make fun of them for the way they were born.
You picked carrots, dude.
I have this fear of like saying a thing and then somebody be like, actually, that's not a vegetable. That's a blah, blah, blah. And then
It's a vegetable.
There's a whole thing of like, I don't know what vegetables are anymore because they got too many divisions.
I think most things are fruits that get called vegetables.
Sure.
Because tomatoes, but I actually don't know the difference because I'm not a dietitian.
There's all these things, like strawberries aren't fruits because the seeds are on the outside. Yeah.
What are they?
Well, I don't know.
What are
I don't know. Not a fruit. I don't know.
Well, we went on a tangent there.
Well, that's going to happen.
That's if you go on YouTube, that's what's going to happen. Is somebody's going to
Correct.
pick a vegetable or a fruit and say it's terrible for you.
Right.
And they'll make a thumbnail that like they hold it up and they look at it and they say, "Don't eat this."
Don't. Yeah. And that's
Or-
how you get the views.
Or watch this video before you eat this till the end because we want watch hours to go up. But that's besides the point.
It is.
Another little. I'm gonna throw another little
Okay.
S turn on you. Ski biking. I hid several questions and now you got to answer. Ski biking, go.
Well, this one's easy. Never done it.
Never done it.
Never done it in my life.
You could go to Ruby Hill. They're blowing snow at Ruby Hill.
Are they doing it now? It's so
I think
warm
so.
outside. I mean, they always try.
Yeah. They may
January.
have done it in that super cold week. Oh, by the way, Ruby Hill, check out the rail yard. They have a great beginner ski hill right here in the city where they actually blow snow. So another way to get out is Ruby Hill.
If you play in snow.
If you want to turn on corners of ice with a ledge.
No, have you ridden a snow bike?
I have.
Snow bike. That's what they call them. Yeah. Snow
Yeah.
bike.
They're interesting. And I haven't ridden a full-on resort with one.
Okay.
But the big issue is that they get away from you. And that's like where a lot of people have problems. So they have come up with a leash system, I think, for some people. But
Like you crash and the thing just goes.
it keeps going.
Like literally gets
and
away.
it's a blade flying down the hill.
Oh, yeah. With some not insignificant heft behind it.
Yeah, a 30-pound bike
Yeah,
flying down the hill with blades on it.
Sounds like a ski resort.
Yeah.
That's all I feel like a ski resort is like weighted things and sharp blades coming at you at all directions.
Yeah.
So,
Is this a good transition into our next subject? Or where are we at on the...
well, we talked about Old Man Winter. We talked about riding bike paths in Denver.
Ooh, bike paths, yeah. Oh, there's also over 100 miles of bike path in Denver, if you didn't know.
And it dries out all the time. You can
And they
always
plow
ride
it.
and they plow it and it
Yeah.
dries out. Like for me, once I get on the Platte River Trail from here, I'm in the sun the whole time. It's not in the shade, which like parts of the Cherry Creek are in the shade because of the buildings. The Platte River is in the sunshine. It's gorgeous, beautiful. So it's an easy way to get out and do bike stuff because it always dries out.
I'm getting a text from Mountain Bike Johnny.
Who's Mountain Bike? Oh yeah, Mountain Bike Johnny.
Yeah, I think he added you on here.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, Mountain Bike Johnny. Just,
YouTube is a drag.
oh,
Try.
I love you.
Sorry, bud. He's the technical wizard. I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
I'm actually off hours for IT support, so
Yeah, let's drink some of that. Do you want any?
I'm going to need a little bit more.
Okay. So here in the Denver area, some people are trying to go mountain biking in the snow. That seems unnecessary. Some people are riding bike paths. Some people are riding trainers. Some people are driving like to Pueblo and Canyon City because they'll dry out sooner than us. Generally speaking.
The reservoir.
Have you ever ridden there, and is it worth going in the wintertime?
Yeah, going down to Pueblo. I mean, you're saying no.
I'm a big no.
You're no.
Dude.
The downside, I mean, yeah, it's a place to go ride. The downside is the shale. Well, the shale is pretty gnarly. Kind of cool sounding at first. You're like, oh, it sounds like I'm riding over clay pots. But it can slice your tire very easily. Ride done.
Sure.
So that's
I just
the one
don't feel
thing.
like Pueblo is anywhere near worth the drive.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say
It's a huge chunk of a day to go ride a little bit of trail that's not all that fun, and then the drive back. I've never done it and felt like it was worth it.
yeah, it's
But maybe that's just me, who's like fine to
2
go ride
hours?
an hour and a half on the gravel bike on the bike path and be fine with that in the wintertime.
Yeah. I think Pueblo's, 2 hours from here? So 2 hours to like ride
Yeah,
some
roughly
trails
2,
that like kind of go up and down like the side of a small hill. I mean, there's some stuff out there. It's riding. It's something to go adventure on, but at the same time, it's not amazing.
Same.
Uh,
All right, moving on.
Man, Johnny's texting me in the middle of a live show. What
Well,
a diva.
He's figuring it out. You mentioned something kind of extravagant
Oh,
for what to do in the winter, how to get through winter.
chocolate. No
Nope.
carbs.
It was directionally based.
Ooh, yes. So going south. Last year,
What is south, and why would you go south? It just sounds like
So there's
Texans are
there's
south.
there's a warmer climate when you go south, and it is wonderful. And it happens right around the Phoenix area. Where you come out of the mountains and you get back down to sea level, and it is way warmer and amazing. And so last year we did a van trip, and we went to Phoenix. Actually, we went all the way down to Yuma, kind of traveled around the Southwest in a whole nother climate. It usually doesn't get below 60. And I mean, that's on a bad day.
Yeah.
So it's like we're 60 to 80 degree weather every day, cool at nights, amazing. Actually, that's the best time to go adventure down there because it's not insanely hot. So I rode in Phoenix, Mesa. Actually, my buddy has Drew Herbert has a house out there. And like right out of his house, we rode and did some trails in Mesa, and they were super fun.
Nice.
And
why
it was.
isn't Drew on our chat? He's always got stuff to say.
Can you send him a message real quick
Yeah, get
on Instagram?
get on
Say
the
join us live. Send a link.
Yeah.
So
Open up your house,
yeah,
right? Please.
Mesa. It's a suburb of Phoenix. Then we hopped over to Tucson, also amazing. Definitely a huge bike community there. I mean, check it out. I didn't get to do too much riding there, but it would be a place that I would go back to check out because it looks insane. Then from there, we went to Texas. And about an hour and a half outside of Austin, there's a place called Spider Mountain.
Spider Mountain.
And it was started by Spider-Man.
Because he made a mountain.
He made a mountain.
Spider webs.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I get it now.
Yeah. It actually
Yeah.
was, I don't know why they call it Spider Mountain. And everything's spider themed. And I don't think it's owned by Disney, so I don't think they can put Spider-Man in, but I wish they would.
They're just trying to steal Moab's poison spider street cred.
But Spider Mountain, I mean, you can fly into Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And it's an hour and some change, hour and a half drive. But it's a lift access downhill park.
Nice.
And it's fun. I think you could be entertained if you're like a expert level, like upper level rider for a couple days there.
Sure.
The jump line was huge and insane, and it wasn't that long, but they're adding to it. And I can't wait to go back when they've added to that jump line, because it's like Rainmaker, but the jumps are taller. Like at the end of it, they're taller than I am. So you're like jumping, and then you're like, oh, that's kind of a big jump. That's kind of big jump. But nothing like crazy insane. And they had a good spread of, like, the beginner trails were super easy. As fast as you want to go. You can maintain a good speed, not crazy. Then, as you progress on the trails, there's good progression, is what I'm saying. So, and then when you get up to the expert double black diamonds, there was some scary stuff there. There was some stuff that I'd like walked because I wasn't in downhill shape.
Cool.
And there's some
Love hearing you walk.
some gnarly rock waterfall stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna
stay out of the hospital today.
Yeah, stay out of the hospital today. But the jump lines, I mean, there's a step down on the main jump line there that was way bigger than it looks, and you're like coming off of the last double.
Yeah.
And you get in there and you're like, whoa, okay, a step down into the fire road. It's like, oh, that's a solid jump. And it flowed really nicely. It took a couple runs to get dialed because they were still building. So until that gets a couple, some good riding in. But I would definitely check it out. Lodging, they ran a special when I was there. I don't know if they're doing this again, but it was $40 a night. And so we were on a van trip and we were like, yes, please. We will take normal beds and a TV for the night. The kids can watch shows. $40 a night and lift tickets. 2 lift tickets. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Not bad.
But don't leave your car seats outside. We left our car seats outside for our kids. There are
get
cats.
Stolen?
No, there's cats.
They have a cat problem at the
They have
dirt
a cat.
jump park?
They have cats.
Well,
I don't know if it's a cat problem.
What's the cat? Why are cats in car seats a problem?
They peed on the car seats. Oh. The cats marked their territory. I mean, they're just house cats. There's probably a handful of them that are roaming around. But Spider Mountain has some cats, and I wouldn't leave stuff outside.
Stuff that you might want your child to be sitting on.
Or
yourself.
We put the seats back in the van, and we were like, oh God. And we have hours to drive, and we Lysoled it and dealt with it. But Jesus. Only downside. Actually, that was the only thing that was a little bit of a bummer, but worth checking out. Not a super fancy lodge. It was clean. It was usable, but more like a cabin. I would say it's a cabin vibe.
Nice. Sounds fine. I mean, for $40 a night.
$40 a night and a lift ticket.
Yeah.
Do
they have rentals at the park? If you don't have your own bike, if you don't take it. Sweet.
Interesting little thing. It's not like a ski town vibe. You go to.
We're not being sponsored by Spider Mountain tonight, by the way.
Yeah, but if you want to go lift access downhill.
In January?
In February.
Or February?
Yep.
Either one?
I would check it out. I would check it out. Not a huge. It reminded me of East Coast downhilling. The size of it, Massanutten or some of the smaller resorts on the East Coast. That's about the size of it. Run-wise, it's 3 to 4 minute runs.
Sure.
You're not getting Colorado runs where you're
sure
20-minute run down the hill if you're slow like me.
Taking a break halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But check it out. I think that's a cool spot, and I think it was 60, 70 degrees while we were there in February.
Awesome. All right, well, nobody in the chat has yet answered the question, how do you survive winter? So we're going to keep going with our suggestions.
Yeah.
How else do you survive winter, Nick? Do you have any other interests that you perhaps invest your time in?
Man, I forgot what was on the show notes. Yes.
You just make voice music to yourself?
I beatbox. I'm a part-time beatboxer. A lot of people don't know this, but I beatbox. I love it. Actually, one thing I do in the winter is play music. I do a lot more music.
Nice.
So I got a classical guitar when I was a teenager, and I love actually playing classical guitar.
Like a Beethoven guitar.
Yeah, like ba-ding-doo-doo-doo-doo, but country style.
Sounds great.
I don't know what that means, but no, yeah, like actually, I really fell in love with classical guitar because it's hard. It is very difficult, and to sit down, I taught myself how to read music. I don't do it that much anymore, but like you're playing the bass and treble parts, and to learn that and the finger moves, it's really hard, but also really gratifying when you learn a new piece. So that's one thing I jump into and love. And I also play bass. I play drums poorly. Drums, I'm a terrible
Doesn't
drummer.
matter.
I like to just hit the drums as hard as I can. Apparently, that's not good technique.
What do they know? Sounds fine to me. Anybody who's watching, let us know in the chat. Is there any activities that you find you can invest more of your time into in the winter since you're not riding as much? For me, I gotta admit this to everybody. I build plastic scale models.
Yes, you're becoming an old man.
I know, right? Particularly Star Trek spaceships. So it's getting worse as I get older, but I did build 2 bicycles.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, not that one. No, I built plastic model bicycles, scale models, those ones.
We'll bring him on camera.
Well, all right.
He's going to go get the plastic models.
They're falling.
Uh-oh. It's a little diorama, actually.
It is a little diorama.
Look at
show up.
Look what we got here.
That's what I do in the winter.
That's it.
Make those little guys there.
Tell us about these 2 bicycles
We
here.
have the Schwinn Continental.
Can you do it in the style of a traveling antique show?
And then we have the Schwinn Stingray.
Now, this is an interesting piece. This is the Schwinn Stingray, made popular in the 1960s. And
so
also,
I made those, and I put them in a little bike shop.
Oh.
Yeah. Little posters.
Oh,
and, look, it's even a little Gingy
lose it.
Cycles.
It's a little storefront right here.
Anyway. I don't do this all year.
I love it, dude.
Yeah. Wintertime's a great time to just do all the weird, nerdy stuff that like tickles a different kind of your brain than riding gets you, and it's good for you. It's healthy. And then when the weather's nice again, you can get back to scaring yourself on a regular basis on mountain bikes or whatever kind of bike you tend to ride.
Pushing the limits, as they say.
Yeah. That's let's see.
Oil Well Flats.
That's Canyon City.
Oh. Canyon. I've never been to Oil Well Flats.
I haven't either. I asked, and it's like everything. Some people are like, yeah, it's great, it's worth it. Some people are like, no. So, me in my life, a mountain bike trip that requires 2+ hours of driving is gonna, so there's 4+ hours of driving on your day, and then you got to the riding needs to be fantastic.
Excellent.
It needs to be top shelf.
Agreed.
And
That's an investment.
it's a huge investment. So. Fire off all summer with no unwanted side effects. He gets it.
What?
That's why you flush out all your nerdy stuff out of yourself all winter long.
Ah, yeah.
Play your music, build your models,
What did
read your books. That's the thing people do.
My wife reads books.
My
and
wife does too. I
know.
I keep trying, and I'm bad at it.
I say,
I'm bad at it. And my wife is very good at it.
I fall asleep. I
don't remember what I read.
Actually, I need to start doing that to sleep better.
Yeah, there you go. Figure
Yeah.
that out.
It's all about the health.
Yeah. So wintertime, you can try to ride. You can go south, invest in other things. There's a very specific thing that happens to bike mechanics every winter.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm talking about?
The black hole of no business.
No business. I mean, I have tons of business.
He's
So much.
bowling. He's bowling.
Shop full of bikes in here, but lots of places don't have tons of business.
Yeah.
So bike mechanics are sitting around irritating the shop owner by their lack of activity. So they find themselves trying to look busy by taking on a bike project.
Yeah.
Usually built up somewhat in the form of slapping together a miscellaneous set of parts that they have lying around. You got any
Ooh.
bike projects cooking in the oven right now, Nick? You're not in a bike shop anymore, so you don't
No.
have that kind of time? Nothing. When was the last time you built a winter bike project?
No, I did the cargo bike last year. It may have been 2
Okay.
years ago. Time flies when you have kids.
Okay.
I did the cargo bike. That was a project. I've done a couple iterations of the cargo bike, and that's our family. That's like our
Okay.
minivan of bicycles. The kids, 2 seats in the front, 5-point harnesses, helmets. They're ready to roll.
Cool.
But I added an electric motor
As you should.
this year because we can cruise 20 miles per
Yeah,
hour
with the kids.
with the kids, buckled in safe, and we can actually do we can ride to downtown Denver or like some different parks and check something different out. So that was my last winter project. It was building out the cargo bike
Okay.
and making it electric with we did a front wheel electric motor. So the cargo bike was not electric,
Okay.
and then I did a front motor. I added a battery and the control unit to the crank arm, which I had to do some finagling. That was
As one
actually,
does.
it's wintertime. You have the time. You have the time.
Finagling must happen.
This was cool, is I mounted the magnet that senses your cadence to the small chainring of the crankset. And I had to do some drilling and some stuff, but I was able to drill out some half circles, and it fit over the small chainring bolts on the crankset.
Oh, nice.
And then I bolted it in, and then got the little sensor that reads those magnets
Yeah.
in the right spot. The cargo bike I have is a bike that it's a regular bike goes on it and it separates. It's called Argo. So you had to work around the mount that goes on the bottom bracket. So you have the electric bike mount with the sensor. You have the mount that holds the cargo bike on. And then you also have the sensor on the crank. And I had to work around all that.
You made it happen.
And I made it happen, and it works. And
Very nice. Perfect.
so, and what it was made for was square taper. It was actually made to go on a square taper, so I had to cut all of that out, mount it, mark it, and finagle.
Nice.
The finagle.
Do you have any memorable bike projects in your years of working in bike shops? Or were you not a winter bike project guy?
I'm not actually a winter bike project guy that much. Skate parks dry out, and I did a lot of skate park riding in the winter, and then indoor riding.
Showing you ads.
I don't do that's the thing is, it's funny that I worked in bike shops for so long because I actually don't buy new bikes that often. So it was financially actually a terrible decision.
Yeah, sure.
Because when you work in a bike shop, part of the deal is you buy a bike, you sell it, and you make a little bit. Or you buy 3 bikes and you sell it at the end of the year, and then you turn it into a new bike, and that's how you make a little bit of money in the winter or in the spring.
Yeah.
So I haven't had, you know what, this may be a good challenge to have a bike project.
Go through all your crap when you get home and see what you have to build a bike around. I've built a ton of them. Probably some of the most memorable was I took an Electra Cruiser, which are kind of long wheelbase.
Oh yeah. Flat foot technology.
But it had the rear dropout, which connected the seat stay and the chain stay, was this big metal plate. It was a huge piece. And I drilled out of it, and I actually attached a a disc brake mount to it. And then I got a suspension fork. And I turned an electric cruiser into a mountain bike with a suspension fork and disc brakes. And then when you sat on it, you sat like this. Because it meant to have a cruiser bar on it. Instead, I put a flat handlebar on it, and you're like this, and kind of pedal like this. And I tried to mountain bike with it once, but it worked. I don't remember what I did with the bike. I know I must have sold it at some point, but I don't know what happened. So that's one of the best ones. But then really one of the best ones is this one.
Ooh, look behind us. This is the new build.
This is why everybody's here right now, right?
This is what the people want. They want the colorful. If you look behind us, we have some colors.
This is my winter bike project for this year. I just finished it yesterday. Well, this morning, really. I call it my ethical obligation bike because I had a customer, a very nice guy who's probably my best customer. He started giving me a bunch of parts before Christmas and saying, hey, throw these together, build a bike, build a project or whatever. And I wasn't planning on it. And then suddenly once he gave me a number of things, I suddenly had a project on my hands. And so from our episode early on, I remember that this frame and shock were on closeout from Jensen for $750. So specialized status, it's a aluminum frame. It's a DPX2 shock, 140 mil travel.
Ooh.
27.5 rear wheel, 29 front. They need to come
Mixed
up with a
wheel.
name for that.
Not mullet.
Not mullet. No way.
And someone doesn't like it. Mixed wheel.
And yeah, it's mixed wheel. I'm the only one going with that. Whatever. But I went crazy and I painted a bunch of crap on it and threw a bunch of pretty colors on it because why not? And finished her up. She's ready to roll.
Well, movements start in places like this. So maybe we could start the mixed wheel movement.
The mixed wheel movement starts here. The mixed wheel fruity bike movement.
And you can mix and match any wheel you want.
You can.
Like, go
we don't
nuts.
discriminate against the way you mix and match your wheels, just what you call it.
I don't care if you ride 24-inch wheels. I don't care if you ride 29-inch wheels. Go nuts.
Go nuts.
Some people get too serious about their wheel size. And you know what? It grinds my gears. It's like a hard power shift.
Nick, what else do you do in the wintertime? Is there anything else you do in the wintertime?
I don't. What's on our list? What's on the show notes?
Well, I have number 6 is I spend time deleting spam. I don't know why, but I get so much trash emails offering me like funding and marketing. And
ooh, you're a small business and they
yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day is like, everybody wants to fund my business. And I'm like, no, we want to give you because you'll
an interest rate.
Yeah. But I don't want you to. I've been there. I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, I actually spend a fair bit of time just deleting emails and
Actually, Gmail unsubscribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where it's at. Unsubscribe. No subscribe.
I spent
Actually,
yeah.
last year I built a van out. That's
Oh.
what I did in the winter.
That's a project.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
laid off and I built my van.
Yeah.
And
Which had bike riding in mind.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we were able to put the cargo bike in because it comes
Yeah.
apart in 2 pieces.
Yeah,
But
sweet.
I built out a van. I figured out the solar system. So there's planets in the solar. No. I bought solar panels.
Nice.
I got a van and it was the floor and shell was done. That had
Nice,
like
yeah.
siding and lights and the vent fans. Very important. But it had no windows. So I had to put windows in. I had to, with the help of Johnny, he actually helped me on the windows.
Nice.
So I cut windows into the sliding door and the back quarter panel. A little nervous about that. But yeah, windows, built a rack, put cabinets in it, put a sink and little kitchenette inside there, and then ran solar from the roof into a battery system, and then that powered our lights, water pump, the heater. We did a diesel heater, all of our lighting, our fans. I mean, it's pretty wild to run. Like, it makes me think about like how much power we use in our homes. And I was able to run 200 watts of solar panels and live off of it. Now, it wasn't a tiny van.
Yeah.
But
Still,
like,
amazing.
It's kind of
Nice.
crazy that we, like, how much power our houses and stuff use. Also, a fridge. We had a fridge.
Nice.
I've thrown in there that ran straight into the DC power system. So,
That's awesome.
yep, just bought. Had some sketchy Craigslist interactions and Facebook Marketplace interactions. I actually had somebody send me a picture of. I was trying to buy a very specific deep cycle battery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deep cycle.
deep, real deep.
Deep cycle.
And when they sent me the picture of the battery, there was drug paraphernalia, and not easy stuff. This was like hard stuff. And I was like,
Do I want this? How bad do I want this?
how bad do I want this?
That's the
Am I
question,
willing
yeah.
to cross a line for van life?
I mean, the allure of van life is the pull is strong.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about van life. It's still life, and it can be really cool, and it has its ups and downs.
Sure.
And that's a whole nother episode.
Doing a whole
Because it's very much glorified, and it's awesome if you are single or maybe a couple. But then when you have two kids, then that's a whole nother thing.
whole nother thing.
So
Yep.
that's a whole nother episode. But I built a van in the winter, last winter.
It's a good project, man.
And actually I did that because I wanted to do something outside of mountain biking, but would help get me out to mountain bike. I ended up actually riding, because we did the winter into the spring and riding in North Carolina again. And I haven't ridden in the mountains in North Carolina in 10 years. That's where I grew up and started riding. So it was really cool to get back to the Pisgah National Forest and ride some of the stuff out there.
Cool.
Yeah, and actually rode up in Maine or in New Hampshire. A lot of rocks there.
Lots of rocks.
Lots of rocks.
Do they have a box of rocks there?
I went on a trail ride that was a little bit of a death march, but really cool.
Nice.
Very different.
It'll come up all the time. It'll come up every episode. We're getting some little blowback on the mullet nomenclature, but I'm sticking to my guns. Because Jeff said, people say, oh, business up front, party in the back. Nobody can defend why 29er is business.
What type of business are you in?
Yeah, what's the business? And so is every other bike that's 29er on both wheels, does it have no party? Defend yourselves, people. That's all I'm asking.
But a mullet is long in back and short in front, and a 26 is smaller, and
it's smaller in the back. I know.
So that doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Hey, we're right.
I don't know. I was on Facebook Marketplace. I am on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know why, but I look for deals even though I'm not buying anything.
Fair enough.
And this week I saw a Specialized big hit.
Oh, nice.
And
Did you buy it?
it was $600 with a bomber fork. And I just kind of wanted to buy it to ride downstairs. Just full speed downstairs.
Stairs only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair
No,
enough.
just cruise around Denver, no hills,
Yeah.
and just put some slick hookworms on there.
Remember when we used to call it urban assault?
That's offensive, sir. I never called it that. It's street, dog. I come from BMX.
Urban
it's called
assault.
street.
I mean, if we assaulted the urban environment.
That's some rollerblading stuff right there.
Well, we do bike projects. We delete spam. Oh, I spent like 2 hours reading about Greece the other day.
The movie?
No, like like what makes grease for in bikes and stuff?
Hydrocarbons. Let's get into the hydrocarbons.
Yeah, sure. We can talk about saponification.
Yeah.
That's. I'm trying to educate myself. Being like, I wonder what all this stuff is, what goes in it. It doesn't matter. Like
viscosity.
The people who know how to do this and who have the education and the expertise to do this, they do what they do for reasons, and these products are sold then for reasons. So if you take any like bike grease and you read about it, what it is, that's enough. That's all you need. Like you don't need to know. I mean, no, you don't need to know. Like,
did you call the guy from Rock and Roll? Rock and Roll grease or oil? Call him. If you are nerding out about grease.
I was trying that. I was just trying to be a little bit more educated and just trying to gauge the degree to which I need to be educated. It's kind of the question that I was dealing with. It's like, how much should I really know about this? Like, do I need to know the difference between like a lithium or a calcium based they call it soap. I didn't know it was called soap. That's what makes grease thick, because the lubrication is just petroleum.
Yep.
That's all it is. And then they throw in other stuff, PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene.
Yeah.
Teflon.
Lay it on me.
That's Teflon.
Teflon.
Yeah. I read all this stuff, just trying to learn a little bit. That's what I did. That's what I did in winter.
Yeah.
I read about like what makes grease, and I learned that like chemical engineering is like not something you can just read on a Tuesday afternoon.
I look at nutritional facts, and he looks at grease nutritional facts.
Yeah, right.
Is kind of where we're at.
I mean, I did learn how to kind of decipher them now. And bottom line is like, if you read one, it'll say like it's not compatible with like silicone-based ones or whatever. And that's about all you need to know.
Okay, yeah. So, you know how I know you're getting old?
Oh, yeah? You read about grease?
Yeah.
Well,
I actually went down this rabbit hole with motor oil because German vehicles take a special motor oil.
Okay.
And there's actually motor oils that have different chemicals in them that as they get hotter, they do not get the curve of the viscosity is slowed down, I guess I would say. I'm also not a chemical engineer, but essentially as it gets hotter, it still stays thicker to a certain point.
Sure.
Versus like, I guess some oils just, they get hotter and they get thinner at a more linear rate.
Yeah.
But once again, not a chemical engineer.
Right. Part of this was sort of born out of this question that I've been grappling with, which doesn't really mean, was I've been wondering, do especially bicycle hubs, because nothing else does, maybe probably not even a pulley wheel, do they, let's say you overfill a cartridge bearing.
Ooh. Just slam it.
On a hub or whatever. Does a bicycle hub under normal use reach the heat point to where there's expansion that causes problems with the seal popping off or opening up and stuff like that? And I'm like, I couldn't find the answer. Probably someone knows.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It takes a lot of freaking heat.
More like car bearings or like a race car.
It takes a lot.
Where you need high temperature grease.
And even a lot of bike ones are still fairly high temp. But like relatively speaking, even relative to like cars or machinery, it's not even close.
Yeah. I mean, only thing that is going to get hotter, shocks and brakes. And you might get some of that heat, but not.
Well, I'll tell you where all this kind of came from, because on the social media things, on the videos that I come across like some of these bike mechanics online, and they've got a cartridge bearing, they'll peel the rubber seals off it, they'll flush it, they'll re-grease it.
Yeah.
And in some of those, in comment sections, I've seen people who come from sort of a machinery background, not a bicycle background, just tear these guys to shreds about putting in too much grease, or if you've taken it apart, you might as well replace it. And yeah, cartridge bearings are generally cheap.
Yeah.
So flushing them and re-greasing them is not always, like, you just put a new one in for the same amount of like cost for labor, right? But you don't always have the chance to do that.
Yeah,
you don't
and
always have one on hand.
Also,
You
is
should try.
the hub manufactured to a good enough spec where it even matters? Because a lot of times they're not, and you press the
Right.
bearing in and it feels like crap anyways, if it's new or if it's used.
Right. So yeah, that was kind of my rabbit hole a little bit lately. Was like, oh, how much does some of the technical truths that apply to cartridge bearings on a machinery end, when do they become like actually important in the
And-
application of bicycles? And
If you're like an engineer or somebody who works for someone like aerospace, like you have a huge potential for like failure at an airplane.
Right.
Yeah, replace it.
yeah, always replace.
It's worth the money to replace it. But like on a bike, like, hey, squirt some grease in, it feels a little bit better, and you're fine, good to go.
Yeah.
Sand it on.
Right.
Yeah, I think some people work in other industries where the risk of failure is substantially higher.
Right.
So yeah, replace it in that. But for a bike,
Well, yeah, you don't have a bearing running at thousands of RPMs for days on end.
it's not like in a tank.
Right.
You know, like
Or an assembly line or
yeah.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Or-
is most people ride.
Manufacturing equipment, whatever.
Most people mountain bike. What do you think? What's the average? Like 3 times a week, if you're on the high end.
Yeah. If you're average on the high end. Yeah.
Average on the high
An
end.
average high is
The average high is
3 times a week. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Some weeks you have good, and some weeks you have bad.
Yeah.
I've had a couple bad weeks. I don't have.
Right.
I don't ride.
Either way, I don't know that reading about grease and trying to understand the mechanics of cartridge. Oh, whatever. It's a good way to try to spend some downtime in the winter.
I think there's a threshold.
Yes, definitely.
And I think one of the things I found is Chris King makes amazing products, but if you're doing something like riding very aggressively, they may be too precise. Where you're going to be casing jumps and landing hard, so like don't get. I actually back in the day, Chris King's didn't have the slit in the headset, so the cone that went in the headset did not slit. And if you rode that dirt jumping, after a while, you would actually get this. It felt like a loose headset, but it wasn't loose because that would get this play. And even though it's a very precision piece of
It actually contributed to greater
componentry.
wear
yeah,
in the long run. Sure.
and the fix was you pull the little seal out and you cut a slit and you put it back in and it fixes the
Just
problem.
like King Creek did.
Yeah, Kingcrete has the patent on that part, which expired, and now Chris King
I do
has.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like I also had issues with Chris King hubs with dirt jumping. Like they always come loose, and so the engagement was amazing.
Yeah.
Performance gain, like when you land on something and you need that instantaneous pedal, or you're riding trials and you need that engagement,
Yeah.
amazing. But I had them come loose. Like I don't think that they're bad parts, but I think when you're just like slamming stuff, like screw it, man. Give me the cheap one that's gonna that's probably not made to aerospace spec, but it's also not gonna come loose. That was kind of my thing,
Yeah.
and I'm not dogging it. Like it's gonna work
Yeah,
great
everything
for
has
most
its
people.
kind of plus and minus. Yeah, but you're right.
And I was
Chris
like,
Kings are just, especially on, aggressive mountain biking, dirt jumping, they come loose. So
yeah. And so landing on, when you're jumping 30-foot doubles or like doing.
I only jump 40-foot doubles.
I was trying to be nice, but okay.
Fine.
I think the Snake Canyon is
30 foot. Are we
calling.
in junior high again? Jeez.
Yeah, I'm jumping the pool next week.
Jumping pool.
Well,
Well,
but man, we're getting to time.
we're almost done.
What else do we got? How do
redo this
you
next week.
survive?
I mean, this is all. I mean, I built this bike. I didn't build those models this week, but I did. Assemble a Gundam model, which is a Japanese robot.
Yeah. Brother's way into it.
Yeah, they're fun. Built that over Christmas. Built this bike. I'm trying to rebuild my shop a little bit to make it a little more functional for some other things. And went on bike rides. And then I spend time reading bike news. Want to hear some bike news?
Yeah, give me some bike news.
You know we got spy shots?
What?
We got spy shots.
Spy.
SRAM Red. Did you just lose your shit?
Is it 13?
Right here?
Is it 13 speed?
No.
Did you count the cassette?
No, there was no counting going on. If you haven't been on the internet, good for you. Yeah, there's some images that have been leaked.
Would you
the
say
new SRAM Red, which is just, it probably shifts gears and it probably brakes, and I'm sure you can put your hands on it. So, it's bike parts.
Yeah, it turns the chain.
Yeah. So that's new. Fox has a new. I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw an Instagram post. At least a new adjustment assembly for the top of their compression, dual speed compression. I
know what he's gonna say.
We got the new Fox DSC. What's it called? DSC Evo. It's the next evolution in compression damping ability coming at you straight at you from Fox Racing Shocks.
And the reason we're laughing is because of the use of the term Evo.
We're gonna have an entire episode, just you wait,
Evo,
on the bike industry's overuse and blatant irresponsible use of the word Evo in everything.
EVO.
I've got a Super 6 Evo Cannondale right here. It's the dumbest name for a really cool bike.
Yeah.
Super 6 Evo. What does that mean? What is dual speed compression Evo? It means they came up with a new one. You know what? They're going to come up with a new one later. Is it Evo again?
And it's
Evo
all caps.
more. Evo plus.
That's
Evo
the other thing.
squared.
Is that the Evo is
when
all
does
caps.
it stop Evoing?
They're yelling Evo at you. All
Yeah,
caps.
they are.
Evo.
Yeah. It's
always all caps.
Yeah, it's DSC Evo. It's
And
always Evo.
We have a hypothesis that we've talked about that Evo came from the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Like
It's the OG. It's the OG, and it's the only one that's allowed.
And if you're really into vaping and rally cars, then that's cool.
Those are two of my biggest interests.
Yeah.
Have you ever? How do you get through the winter? You get into vaping and rally cars.
Have you ever been to a WRX rally?
Only like 7.
I'm blowing clouds, brother, in my car and my fucking.
Well, Fox dropped that. I love Fox for so many things. I'm disappointed in their use of the word Evo.
But they evolved it, dude. They freaking
just made
evolved
a new
it.
one.
And they evolved it. And so it's Evo, bro.
Yeah, but what's the next one then?
But can you use it as a vape pen?
Well, yeah, because you can adjust all of the settings, all of the inhale, all of the settings that are necessary for compression in the mountain bike suspension fork are equally important in a vaping situation. This is well known.
Yeah. All right. Lay it on me.
All right, so that's new. What else is new?
Big Papa. Well, actually, one thing about getting through winter, the theme of the show is winter.
Stopped working.
So, actually, this show was the Evo of doing something
Evo of being
different.
bored in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. We sure.
Yeah, we wanted to have a show where I was like, hey, let's start doing a weekly show and Evo this hard, What's the next Evo?
I mean, I'm Evoing. I'm just not marketing it as such.
Yeah. I'm probably going to put 3 cameras on the show next. It'll be
That's
the next
Evo.
dude.
That's super Evo.
So freaking Evo. Dude, pound it, dude.
Evo.
Yeah, brother.
All right. Well,
But the show is the evolution something like, hey, let's try something new. Let's just every Tuesday we're going to be going live at 8:15. I think I need to talk to you about this, but we maybe need to come a little earlier. We need to do a little earlier.
Earlier, like start earlier?
Yeah, like 8. Maybe 7:42.
We start at 8?
7:42.
7:47?
7:47, that's a good number.
It is a good number.
Great plane.
Yeah, not
Great
7:37 max. We don't want those.
No, don't the max.
They fall down.
No, fall down, go boom. That's not funny.
We don't want
So yeah, this was a collaboration. We just get together, chat about bike stuff, and have a chance for you guys to also comment. Which, if you're just joining us, please feel free. Tell us how you get through your winters. Maybe it's a vitamin D supplement. Maybe it's a low carb diet.
That's all it is.
But we're happy to have you. Thanks for joining us.
We always love it.
Is there anything else we want to cover for getting through winter?
I mean, there's always more, but we're gonna call it quits. Got to keep you wanting more,
yeah, come back next week.
because it's gonna be so good.
So that's signing out.
Thank you. Have a good night. Good week. Go ride bikes.
Yeah. Like, why are you watching?
Or not.
Why are you watching
Build
this?
plastic spaceship models if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, like, that's a really cool warp nacelle.
My guy.
I ended it on warp nacelle.
That's all right.